Hey there, it's Brebear, and I just realized, but I just filmed a video of my planning system for 2018, and I realized I never got to show you guys the flip through of this planner because as I sat down to film it, I had a little problem and my camera was not working. I'm gonna do a flip through of this planner. Alright, so first things first, I made some pin loops for myself on here. And this one decided to break off dramatically, and so I don't even know where the rest of it went, but there's that. And then I also had a color key right here for when I started the semester so I could access it quickly. I was gonna take it off and I never did, so it's still there. And then we have the please return to area with my name and email address because let's not give everybody my home address. Thank you. All right, and so then we flip into our index. The orange dots were so I could keep up with when I was planning my new bullet journal. And then we have the months highlighted in color, and I'd never even put November in here, so let's ignore that. So then we go into the key, and so basically I have a dot for task, a line through it for a started task, an X over it for a completed task, strike through. For a canceled task, a migrated task is either an arrow forward, or if it's moved back further, then it's an arrow back. So arrow this way is migrated back a lot further, arrow that way is migrated forward to like the next day. And then we have an event or appointment is a circle, an exclamation point, and a diamond is priority or urgent. A birthday present is a birthday. A C with a circle means C calendex. A star with a circle around it is delegated. A question mark with a circle is a question or lookup, and then a box is a deadline. And then I marked some colors in here as well. And then I had a color scheme for each month. So this is my 18 by 2018. I did work on a lot of these things, and let's ignore the fact that this is a really messy layout. I didn't pre-plan it quite very well. So moving on. Then we had my level 10 life. The idea here was that I would show at the beginning and at the end, but I never came back in and filled this out. But basically over here, I just rated myself on a scale of 1 to 10 in a column format because it was quicker. And then at the bottom, I just kind of wrote a little bit of a note on what I was doing in each area or where I was at or why I rated myself the way I did. And then I had this side, which was action steps, specific to-do items and actions that I could accomplish to work on each of the areas. So then I had this page taped off so that I could get to my workout routine page, which basically was just the workout routine that me and my mom were doing. So then we flip over the page and we have the worst oops ever. So it was just not good at all. So I covered it up with like a journal card and a sticker and like washi tape, and it still looks really stupid, but it looks less stupid than the mistake. So and then I didn't have enough room, so I wrote my title sideways, and it's just so bad. This was my gift ideas page, so it was just who and what. So I would write down who the gift idea was for, like who I'd be giving the gift to, and then what the gift idea was. And then on the other side I have a wish list page, which is basically just an area where I can write down random ideas of things that I'm like, ooh, I think I would want that. And so then later on I come back and I highlight the things that are more important to me. It ranges everywhere from like an iPad to a pen, a Muji pen, like a cheap pen for gift ideas around the holidays and your birthday, and it's just a nice thing to have. I added a quotes I love spread. This was my books of 2017 page. I did another bookshelf, but this time I waited to draw in the books until I was actually in the month, but I did a color code system, so it would be color coded according to what I rated the book. And then I also divided I had 6 shelves and I divided them in half so that on each side was the books for that month. So this is how much I read in July as opposed to April. But then over here I just numbered and wrote the titles of the books. I did not finish out this page yet, so this bottom shelf is not completed, so I did read quite a bit in that last bit as well. We have a period tracker, which I did not keep up with updating very well. And then we have my birthdays spread, the months divided out, and then whoever you have birthdays for in there. And then it has a piece of washi on the side because on the other side is my calendex. For this calendex, I had things quite different. I had a key section with color codes for different areas of my life. So I had holidays, personal, work, school, and family. And then I had a color for each of my classes in school, so I color-coded those as well, and I color-coded them separately with just a dot, and then a birthday symbol, and then I ended up adding for 2 clubs that I'm in school. Well, they're honor societies actually. And then I also had an Alistair future log here for anything that might have overflowed into the next section. And then I had this sticky note here where I could write things down that they were in the works, but they didn't have a specific date yet, so I could have a general idea of, oh yeah, this might also be coming up during this month as well. School schedule stuff. So I had my schedule out here, and basically how this works is I have each of the days in a column, and then on the side I had it numbered, and I had a 24-hour column here for each hour. So each hour, the hours were on the line. Half hours were in between, or halfway between each row of dots. So I could kind of see what my schedule was like as far as when I was going to be in classes and stuff like that, where I was going to be and all of that good stuff. And I also transferred that color code of my classes over to this page as well. And then on this side I just had the details of each of my classes so that I could quickly see who my professor was, what room it was in, what the section number of the class was, what time the class was, what building it was in. And then this is actually just for my sister's schedule. I just stuck it in with mine so that at the beginning of the semester I could access this quickly and easily. And then I had my okay, so I forgot to put the header on before I did the page, so there's that. But then we have the same thing happening here, and I forgot to put the header on before I started doing the page, so it's awkwardly here where I had barely any space to write. But I had a Walmart, grocery store, and other shopping lists, and then I had my prayer dashboard over here, which is the exact same thing as what I have now. It's just laid out differently, but basically the idea is that when a prayer is no longer relevant, I can remove the sticky and just replace it with a brand new blank one. I'm able to rotate things out only when I need to, and I don't have to have this page full of things that are scratched off and everything. I can just have a fresh page all the time because I can just replace the things that are no longer relevant. Next we have this people to contact page, which I liked, but I honestly would not do again because I didn't use it enough. If I needed to remember to contact somebody like a professor or a classmate or somebody about a job, I could just write that stuff in here and write whatever I needed to ask them or contact them about, and I could write more notes on these and then smaller amounts on these, and that's kind of why I did the different sizes of stickies for the prayer dashboard. So I could write out more details if I needed to, or I could keep it just short, and because I didn't need a whole lot of explanation or description about it, if I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know automatically what that is for. And the same thing with shopping. Obviously I'm gonna need more room for Walmart and the grocery store than other, because I don't need to be spending a lot of other money. I had a pen pals page, and then this ended up not being enough room, and so then I switched it to another page, and you'll see it later. Basically so I could have some room to kind of like work out exactly what I wanted to do with my miracle morning and improve upon the areas where I was weaker, which would be these two areas in particular that I'm weaker in. And then I also had my planning routine out. So basically just so I would have an idea of what I wanted to do in the morning, during the day, at night, and then once or twice a week, and then once or twice a month. And then I had my morning and night routine spread, which this one turned out so much better than the one from my previous journal. But I honestly just straight up don't use it at all. I love it. I think it's so cute, but it's really just something that I did and never looked back at. So there's that, but I loved this one so much more. It was so much better. Moving on, I had set aside this area for dietary standards. I was going to work on my eating habits and improve my diet so that I could be getting more nutrients and eating less junk, and also work towards getting to the point where I'm vegetarian and eventually vegan, and all that stuff. But I honestly never even came back and touched this page. And then I have a page for mini affirmations, which I created this page so that I realized when I was traveling or spending the night with my mom or my grandparents, I didn't have my affirmations notebook with me, and I wanted to have a little tiny list of different affirmations for different things like I have in my notebook, but a small, just one page of that to access for when I'm doing my miracle morning not at home. All I needed is my bullet journal and my Bible. So then I had the unfinished business page, which basically was just so I could migrate any open tasks into my new notebook and open events into my new notebook. And then we have some washi to separate off August. So obviously you can see if you look at my previous journal versus this, it's very different. My divider page was just August 2017, and then I had a verse for the month, a motto, which was basically just a quote that I wanted to memorize, and then my top 3. Over here we have my brain dump spread, and then we flip over to my goals page, which this time I decided to try to do more of a mind map look. The problem with my maps for me is that I never feel like my mind maps look orderly. They look messy to me, so I'm not totally happy with it. But I just had different goals and everything, and I ended up, instead of just doing the 4 like I did in my previous journal, I did all 10 areas. But then I had my review section, and it was basically the same kind of concept. I just made it a little bit smaller, didn't take up so much room writing big headers and stuff like that. I save a lot more space and give a cleaner look. Then we have my important dates, or important in August, and so basically I had the regular monthly spread where you number down, you put your days, and then instead of just writing things in, I really loved using a color code, and I started using this, I believe, at the end of my last journal. But I just put up the color code here at the bottom so that I would know what I needed to do for this. But basically I would just write in each item, and then I would highlight it based off of what category it fit into. So the biggest benefit of this was that it really helps to separate off each item. So you'll see when I started getting a bunch of homework assignments and things, it would separate it off because you could see the division between each item a lot more clearly. And then I had my master to-do list of all the items that I wanted to do, which honestly, this was pretty wasted space because I did not get around to doing most of this stuff. Then flipping over, we had my 1 line a day, which I was using 2 different fountain pens at this point. One of them ran out of ink or stopped working correctly or something. But I really liked this idea here, and that was the August memories. So I didn't really like doing a bunch of doodly type things, so I ended up kind of doing this so that I could kind of doodle when I wanted to, but I didn't have to. My memory spread. So I did a circular monthly, but instead of putting in my events and things, I just wrote in different things. A really fun spread that I really enjoyed having was that memory section, but honestly it was such a pain to draw out. It's kind of like the mandala. I loved it, but it was such a pain. Alright, so then I did my gratitude log. The first time I did 3 items per day, so it overflowed, but then I came up with a new idea. You'll see that for the next month. So then I did spending log, but I didn't really update this very often. I did meal tracking, and then we moved into my activity tracking, which basically I would just put the date, what I did for my workout or yoga, and then the time. And then I had a mistake, so I folded this guy over to make a Dutch door because I made a mistake. So it just has my color code for my correlation chart, which I decided to make a full page so that I had more space so I could see what I was doing a little bit better and have a little bit more flexibility with it. And then I also added a little, with the same color for sleep, a little thing to track when I took naps as well. My habit tracker, which I decided to do just the one color and do the little pattern thing to make it a little bit easier so that I could fill it out on the go. And then I just added a little doodle page to fill up this extra space because I made a mistake, like I said earlier. And then I had my mandala, which I never even finished drawing in the design on top of it. Then I have my first weekly, which is definitely very different from my previous journal. And I really liked this layout for quite a while. I had everything divided, so I'll break it down between the 2 pages really quickly. So at the top I just had this week, and then I have each day divided out the same way. So I had the day, and then the date, and then over here I had my to-do items, or my events and appointments and deadlines rather. I don't put to-dos on my weeklies. For here, stuff for the weather. So I had the percent chance of rain, the high and low temperature, so I would put high/low, and then the icon for what the weather was going to be like. So then I had my currently section, where I decided to kind of just put like current projects and things like that, and then assignments, to do items, and then top 3, and then notes. But then we flip over and we have my dailies, which instead of doing a big fluffy header, we were just doing the same kind of quick, and that was kind of a lot of what inspired this journal for me, was the way that I approached my look was a lot better for me. I think this is a lot cleaner than what I was trying to do in my previous journal. Notes. So anytime that something was not, that was like notes or was like a collection, it would have the mint and the black, and then if it was for that month, then it would be within the color scheme. And then we're back to dailies. And then we flip over, and another thing that I did with my weeklies was, as you can see, I did the brighter orange here, and then the pastel orange here, and then brighter orange here, pastel orange, and I flip-flopped it on this one. You see that? You can kind of see what I did there, and you can see I kind of changed it up just a little bit in the layout on this side. So I did the top 3 currently and to do this way, and then the assignments in a big box here, and then the notes in a more square section there. So moving on, we have more dailies. And then I wanted to create this ideal week layout. I saw Boho Berry do something similar to this, where she kind of like laid out her ideal week, and I wanted to try to do that, but honestly it just doesn't work for me. And then we continue with our dailies, and we have washi, because this is my pen pal record take 2. So basically what I decided to do here is, if I had, after I had kind of really established a pen pal, they would get to be permanently written on the page, but otherwise they were on, this is from a full-size sticky note, and I just cut them down so that I could have several of them. So what I have here is I would have the names of the different pen pals, or potential pen pals that I've been writing a little bit but I hadn't gotten a ton of letters from or whatever on there. And then I have the inbox and outbox tabs, right? So inbox means that I've received something from them and I need to mail them back. Outbox means I've mailed them and I'm waiting on a response. Once I get 4 or 5 letters from them, then I'm ready to put them on the page permanently. So that was my pen pal page iteration. This week I dropped the top 3. Alright, moving on, I did big fluffy headers again, and I'm just saying I love lettering headers, although sometimes I don't make them look the prettiest. I also did a little bit of a time bar, but I never ended up coloring it in. Then we move on. I was trying out this DIY sticker machine that I had, and then I just drew out this page. I put it on Instagram. It's not my best work when you look at this part, but the top part looks great. It's just this part that doesn't look so great, but that's okay. Another weekly, I added a little section to write in letters sent and received, but that did not last very long. Oh goodness, this is when I updated my calendar, my Calendex. So I went through my school calendar, my sister's school calendar, my dad's school calendar, and I updated all of the things. And so I had a huge section of color right here because of that. And then over here, I tried a time bar again. Over here, oh, I was gonna do themed TBR lists, and so I was kind of coming up with different things that I wanted to read for the upcoming months that were themed to the seasons. And then I did the holidays page that I finally incorporated so that I would have all of the holidays that I wanted to remember and celebrate, and when they came, whether it was on a specific day or a specific, you know, the 3rd Monday of January, or, you know, which is MLK Day, the third Monday of January. But I taped that off. And then I had some handwriting practice, and then I continued trying to do some time bars. Then we move on, more time bar attempts. Things I needed to do before back to school, just a brain dump of that. So I made this skinny column for my to-do, and then we had my notes section, and then my top 3 came back, and then I had a needed for school section for this week so that I could write down anything that I did need to get for my classes if there were any specific items I needed to get my hands on. And so then I was keeping a time bar here because I was starting my classes so that I could remember where my classes were and all of that. Obviously my headers got pretty huge during this week. So then I wrote out some stuff about a project I had for my ads and sales class. Oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite inks in the whole wide world. So then we go into September. So we got more of the same kind of thing going on here. So we have a verse, a motto, which is a quote that I wanted to memorize, a top 3, and then I added a second verse because this one was pretty short. Then we have the brain dump section. Over here we have goals, which I went to a more standard simplified look here because the mind map thing. And this one, I don't know why, but I didn't do it the same on this page, and I liked the other one a little bit better. But review page. And then we have the important dates, and this is where I got into what I call my monthly spread. This is what I would call my monthly spread in a bullet journal. This is what I would continue to do to this day. So what I do is I do the regular number down the page, and then you put the first letter of the day, which I modify it so that instead of putting 2 T's on Thursday, I put an R, and instead of putting 2 S's on Sunday, I put a U. And then I also put the moon phases. I have a color code at the bottom, and then I have a to-do column on the side. Flipping over, then we have my 1 line a day, and then I had another memories section. This one isn't quite as fun because I didn't use a lot of color. Gratitude log, and this was my new gratitude log system that I did where I just did 2 dots for each day. And the first dot was so I would write it in the morning, and then the second dot was what I would write in at night. That way it fit on 2 pages, so it was much better. Plus I was starting and ending my day with gratitude. Next we continue with the meal tracker, which is the exact same as the previous month. Activity log, I just moved the time over on this side, and then I shortened my spending section quite a bit, and then I tried to start adding a review section. So this was my first iteration of a really crappy looking review section. But basically what I did is, let me zoom you guys in so you can see. Okay, so for my diet, I basically just broke down and went into my tracker. I realized that I wasn't really reviewing things. I was tracking stuff, but I wasn't really using what I was tracking to help me. And so I wanted to start doing a review section and really reflect a lot better. So that was one of my goals that I wanted to do, was review more. So I put snacks total for August, and then I did the previous month, and then I did the month prior, and then the month that I just completed. So the month before I did 15, and then I improved it by only doing 12 snacks. And then I was going to do a next month goals thing, but I never really filled it out. I did the same kind of thing for my activity. So at the top was the ones that I wanted to be daily, that I was trying to make daily habits, which I did pretty good on for the most part. And then at the bottom was ones that either I wasn't ready to make daily yet, or what didn't need to be daily. Here I had my correlation chart, and then a mood tracker here as well. So you can see that in this bullet journal I did a lot of experimenting and changing my way of bullet journaling to really make it more my own. So I stopped doing the mandala, and I just did a mood for the morning and at night. And then I also did some adding and some review of my correlation chart as well. Total, average, highest number, my lowest. Done some research on potassium and iron because those were 2 things that I felt I am deficient in. And then I had some video ideas. And we have another weekly spread. I added a top 3 at the bottom again. Here you can see where I started getting lazy with having my marker with me all the time or getting it out. I was trying to do a time bar, but I wasn't really coloring it in. So this is another part of the reason that I think I needed a break from bullet journaling for a while, so that when I come back with a fresh perspective. Never even filled in for a top 3. flip the page, flip the page. I had a blank page I never did anything with. Oops. I started writing a lot in French on my weeklies, les devoirs. So this is where I would write out my assignments, marking off when it was completed. So that was the check column. And then I made a column for when it was due. And then what class, I would just put my abbreviated version of what I would title the class as. Description would be a description of whatever, or a definition of what the assignment was. Kind of break that up. And so it was a little bit more effective for me. And so that the section was less messy, because in the past it was kind of a little messy and I couldn't add things in as easily later on in the week. So then I went to the feed training, which was a thing that I was volunteering for. And then we have more dailies, and then another week, more dailies. And see, this is another reason of why, because I can never be consistent. Made a morning and night routine checklist. I never really even looked back at this page again. NaNoWriMo brainstorm base. So really quickly here, these pages are glued together from page 143 to 150. You want to know why? Because I failed at life. I could not get the word October out. So I had my top 3. I put a what's happening, so I knew what was coming up throughout the month. I put birthdays, a wedding, an orientation that I had, and my fall break, and a project that I needed to work on. So basically just what was going on with me, what I had in the works throughout the month. And then I put my memory quote. I changed it to say memory quote and then memory verse. And I put them on sticky notes so that once I got one memorized, I could switch it out. And then I had my brain dump page. Goals, you can see I never came back and did my review. And then my this month spread, I did not put my color code at the bottom, but at this point I had it pretty well memorized. One line a day, you can see I missed quite a few days up in here. Gratitude, again, some big holes in there. You can see the lines. I would just draw a line anytime that I missed several days. So you can see I wasn't in my journal a lot, and this is a lot of the reason why I feel like I needed a break from bullet journaling. Is because honestly I kind of just got to a point where I wasn't excited about it anymore. I was kind of in a planning slump. And so the best way to get out of a planning slump is to change up what you're doing. The best way to get out of any slump in your craft, whether it be planning or a reading slump or any kind of slump, is to take a different approach to what you're doing and change it up. So then I made a much better section division for my reviews of my activity and diet, but because I was in this slump, I didn't really use them. So I did okay, but I really did not update my tracker whatsoever. As you can see, this entire section here is marked off because I just didn't come back in and update it. And I added in so that I could track the correlation with the moon phases, which is one of the reasons that I was drawing that in with the mood tracker. But I never came back in with finances. What I decided to do for my finances at this point was write down every time I spent money, whether it be for food or gas, so that I could get a full overview of my entire spendings of the month. So that's what all this was going to be too. And then a spending review page so I could break down how much I spent on gas, how much I spent on food, how much I spent elsewhere, and what I spent it on. So we have kind of the same thing here. And then dailies, I was just doing big block letters. And then I decided to change up my weekly. I don't know why, I just felt inspired to try something different. So here we are. At the top I had the percentage. For the chance of rain, here I had the icon of what the weather was going to be like, and then here I had the high and low temperature. Haphazardly made boxes this particular week, so I had a box for each day of the week, and originally I had written these in yellow, but I realized really quickly that wasn't going to work, so I had to get back over it with the purple. More deluge. Time bar again. Okay, so then we have a new weekly, and this is kind of where we ended up settling for the rest of the planner, I believe. But we have the time bar on the side here, and then the day of the week, and then in this column we had deadlines and appointments and events, and in this side we had the things that I wanted to try to get done So editing and uploading for YouTube, and also NaNoWriMo stuff. So then over here I had personal, projects, school, and next week. So then flipping over, we move into more dailies, and then this was me trying to figure out some ideas of what I wanted for Christmas. We have my Christmas shopping, which I have covered up. More dailies, and then I had a brainstorm for one of my school classes. We did beat reporting, and so I needed to come up with some ideas of what I was going to write on for my stories for that. And then we had another assignment, and so I just wrote down really quickly because I had my bullet journal out already. I just wrote down what the assignment stuff was. And then we have more dailies, another week. It's the exact same as the previous week. We have more dailies, poor sad blank page that didn't get covered. So then we get to November. And I never finished filling out I never wrote a header for brain dump, and I never finished filling this out. So then we move on, and I never finished writing in my goals, and I never did a review. So I did use my monthly spread because I had to. Here's my one line a day. I never made my memory section. Here's my gratitude. Here's my meal tracker. Never even made the columns for my meal tracker because I decided I was too lazy to do that apparently. So I never even made my columns for it. Activity tracker. For this I did change things up, and I decided to put the date and then if it was a class, because I was in both yoga and Pilates classes for this semester. And so I put Y for yoga and P for Pilates, so I could mark if it was yoga or Pilates, and then notes section was so I could write out if there was like something I wanted to note about the specific class that we did, or if I did a different workout, then I could mark other and do that. I didn't put other column for this one, but I did the next month. So I could just mark those things. And then I had a review section for my diet and activity, which again I did not use. And then we had my charts page. I made a chart. This is just, yeah. Okay. So I had my habits at the top, which I really minimized what I was trying to track there. And then I did my my ratings. I did ratings instead of doing a correlation chart so that it would be easier to add up at the end of the month. And this I would definitely do again if I did a correlation thing, just because I think it's so much easier for what I've decided to track, the way I've decided to use this, that it's way easier to put a number out of 1 to 10 so I can just go down the line, punch it into a calculator, and then get my numbers for my total and my average, and I can quickly see my high and low. Whereas with the chart, sometimes it was hard to see. So then for my mood, I decided to just put high, medium, low, and physically sick, so that I could physically see quickly at a glance if I was in the higher area most, or the medium, or the low. Then we just had another random blank page here, casually as you do. And then we had a tracker review and finances tracker. And finances review. Never even touched, like these are basically like wasted pages. So then we have my NaNoWriMo chart. So then I had intentions. I had good intentions to fill this out, and I didn't at all. And then like a dummy, instead of drawing the line in gray, I drew it in black, so I had to put my stuff in gray, which made no sense. And then I was gonna put, like, you know, my daily goal, which I don't even know why I had the daily goal, because obviously it's 1,667 words a day, and then a day actual, I was gonna put that, which made sense, and then total goal, which made sense to have, and then total actual. So I really did not keep up with this at all. And you can just see it as I got towards the end, you can really tell that I was in a planning slump. So you can see why I needed a break from bullet journaling. I was just tired of it. I don't know. And then I tried to do a different kind of time bar here. I don't even know what I was doing at this point. This was for a performance that I did. I had to write down some different songs that we could do, and so then I don't know why I left this page blank, but I did, because apparently I forget when I have blank pages and forget to go back and doodle, especially when I was like in this slump. I just didn't even bother. So at this point I just did personal and school. Because like I didn't even care, obviously. Like look at this is so bad. Oh my gosh. And then we have dailies, and then do my church notes in here, and then yeah. Oh, I decided to do color again. Look at me, I want to color in my life again. So yeah, I don't even know what the sticky note is for, so there's that. I was gonna do the mini emoji-a-thon, but then I had a show and I had a lot of stuff going on, so I didn't get to do it. I was really sad. This is more church notes, and we have more dailies, and this is the paper clip that I was using to keep up with where I was in my days and stuff, and yeah. And then we just have blank pages because I didn't have enough room to do anything else. So as you saw, I definitely needed a break from a bullet journal. I did make another bullet journal, and I definitely simplified some things. I'll show you really quickly at a glance. Alright, so I had my cover section, and I have index, and then I was going to put my 2018 goals here, and then I have my Calendex here, and my birthdays and holidays right next to it, my shopping and prayer list, and then my books of 2018, I was just going to list them, and then put a rating, put the title, author, and the rating, and the number. I made a mistake, so here we are with another Dutch door. And this was my gift ideas and my wish list, and then unfinished business, and I had another blank page because of my mistakes. I started using stickers in my planner because I was really inspired to use stickers at this point, so you'll see a lot of stickerage happening. We have our December. Literally, I just did the monthly spread, and that's it. I didn't do anything else at this point. And then I have my weekly. I tried to do something different for my daily. Didn't do this after that. And then we move on to regular. And then I started doing my church notes all in my bullet journal, so it was church notes and planner things. And so then I quit doing a daily, and I decided to move back into a weekly planning style because I used to do a week on 2 pages type deal. So I decided to try that again. So here you can see I'm starting to use stickers again. This is where I started to really get into stickery things. And then so I would have my weekly, and then my church notes, more church notes. And then we start really getting into the sticker mode. So you can really tell that I'm really wanting to try the happy planner at this point. And then church notes, boom, sticker land. And then church notes, boom, stickers everywhere. And then I was writing out my goals for 2018. And that is as far as I am in this journal. So if when I go back to bullet journaling in a loik term, I will go back into this notebook. I won't just like leave it half finished. I will go back specifically to fill out the rest of this notebook, but I just wanted to give you an idea of where I was at. This is my new planner that I will be using for 2018. So if you haven't already, be sure to check out the video that I will link in the description showing you guys how I've set up what I'm calling my happy bullet journal. It's going to be a hybrid between the happy planner and a bullet journal so that I get the best of both worlds, and hopefully I will enjoy the system. I do think that I will change back eventually to a bullet journal, and then I do think from there I'll probably switch back again to a happy planner. I don't know. We'll see. It depends on how life goes. I may switch back and forth between the two planners or use both, one for one thing. I don't know. I'm just kind of winging it right now. We'll see what happens. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I wasn't planning on filming this video today, but I realized I didn't get to film it. So here it is. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So I love you guys, and I hope you enjoyed, and peace out, Bear Scouts. About your worries and your stress. I mean a bare necessity. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. Yeah, bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your stress. I mean a bare necessity. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life.